indicators line up for a trade. However, a small issue exists. Maybe the momentum is gone. Maybe the clear path isn't quite there. Maybe the entry area isn't as defined as you need it to be. These are what we call medium probability trades. These trades need to be managed a little more assertively. These trades need you to find profits quick, get to break even, because it's just not perfect. It doesn't fit the mold for perfect. And then when you start seeing 2, 3, when the advantages go away beyond just one, guys, it's low probability. One of the things that you're going to forget, and that I forgot, is that I'm in control of whether or not I enter the market. So if I have all my advantages, guys, I have to be excited about getting into that market. I have to be excited about taking that trade and accepting the risk that may be on that trade. The more I see disappear, the less likely I am to get in. And if I do get in, the more aggressively I'll manage it. So I want you guys to talk about out loud every time you look at a chart, what are the advantages that you see? And what you're going to find is that the first two advantages, the momentum, guys, is defined on the large chart. And momentum is the same look, whether it's up or down, it's just flipped. When your smalls separate from the large, when everything is in the same direction, that gap lets me know that the odds are favorable for the market to continue down. When the smalls are above the large and that gap is present, guys, this is your first advantage of momentum. When you have momentum, the odds are favorable for the market to continue. When you have momentum, it's what we're looking for to break key areas, guys. And when you have momentum, it'll even help cover some of the mistakes that we tend to make as new users. Momentum is amazing. And when those small triggers are no longer separated, you have weakness. And when you have weakness, anything can happen up or down. And rule number one isn't met, and your advantage goes away. And you've got to get your management hat on, because now you don't have a market that's likely to push in the direction of the trend. And you'll notice that 4 out of 5 pivots happen with weak triggers. So once you have momentum, guys, it's really important that you make sure there's nothing in the way. That's going to be the second advantage from your large chart. And when we look at a large chart, whoops, that's the wrong picture. Sorry, I'm stacking too many pictures here. When you look at your large charts, NinjaTrader users, you're going to see lines. You're going to see horizontal lines running across that large chart. They all have a name. There's divergence highs. It's that magenta line with a negative number. It prints and extends to the right. That means that there was a loss of momentum right at the pivot. You'll see it as a cyan line or a baby blue line at the low. You're going to see red Fibonacci resistance, blue Fibonacci support, yellow 1-to-1s. And I want you to say to yourself, any line, any horizontal line on my big chart could stop the market. And there's an easy recipe to know whether or not it's likely to stop the market or whether it has the potential to break. So every time the market reaches a line, so for instance, the market comes down and it reaches that blue Fibonacci support. When it hits that support, all you have to do is say, hey, how many triggers made it through? And guys, you have small triggers and large triggers. There's 4 lines total. If none of your lines make it through that area, I just want you to say to yourself, that area will hold. Whether it will or not, I don't know, but I want you to go on the assumption, man, that's an area that could stop the market. That's an area that could create a big bounce. That's an area that could ruin any short trade that I take. When you get to an area, and initially you're going to pause, if 2 triggers get above the area, and we're looking at resistance right here, but 2 triggers remain below, as long as you have momentum, you can say to yourself, hey, this area has the potential to break, but it's still kind of sketchy for a breakout with only 2 triggers through. Less likely to break. When 3 triggers, both small and 1 large, get through, that's when you start getting a little more aggressive on taking that next trade. But it's not a clear path until 4 triggers get through the area. So what we're going to do this morning is every chart that we go to, we're going to look at the first bar and we're going to say, do I have momentum? So give me a Y in the room, please. Small triggers above the large triggers, space between the two. Guys, I have momentum and I can see it right on this first bar. And then I have to say, okay, do I have any lines on my chart? I do. I've got a couple Fibonacci areas. Have 3 or more triggers gotten through? No. Have 2 triggers gotten through? Not yet. Guys, one little line has barely broken above. So what I'm going to say to myself is this is an area that could stop the market. This is an area that could create a bounce. This is an area that could eliminate forward progress and take me out of a trade that I'm hoping to win. And what you'll notice is that with weakness, you start to see retracements. Only 2 triggers through those 1-to-1s, and sure enough, it retraces further. No triggers through resistance, it holds to the downside. No triggers through support, it bounces up right to resistance, which holds to the downside. Guys, decisions are made by the people that control the market right at these key Fibonacci areas. The men and women with the money, with the influence, with the power, with the charisma to make trends happen, the men and women with all that money that establish the momentum, these are the same people that react at those key areas. Nexgen users, you know about them long before you get to them. There's no reason to sacrifice your hard-earned money trading directly into an area. Once the large chart is full of momentum and nothing in the way, you'll go to a small chart, you'll go to a fast chart, you'll go to a refinement chart. And on this smaller chart, guys, this is your immediate, this is your in the now. And this small crowd fights. And when everything says up, these guys push down. And rule number 3 is designed to take advantage of their fight, which typically loses 70 to 80% of the time when you have momentum and path. So the rules for entry are I'm going to buy or sell a pullback. So in this case, I'm going to buy a pullback. My big chart says up and my small chart's going down. And I'm going to do it at an area, at a fib, at a mid-band, or a yellow 1-to-1. And guys, I want that area to be inside of triggers, either large or synthetic. It doesn't matter to me which one it is, because the fight starts with a reversal bar. The retracement can be defined through the large and small triggers, and then the bounce to continue with the large chart is most likely to happen at an area inside of those triggers. So what we're doing is we're using the idea that when the large chart says go, when the potential is there to break, that the small crowd's going to show up and create a fight. Down, and it begins to pull up. My areas are no longer inside of triggers, which means I don't know if, when, or where that market's going to continue down. Eventually it does, but we get caught in the dance right at Fibonacci. So every time we look at a chart today, guys, we're going to address those 3 things. Do I have momentum? Is there a clear path? And only if those answers are yes will we go to a smaller, faster chart to see if we can locate an entry using a pullback to an area inside of triggers. Language becomes important. So this is the S&P. Price pulled back to support. 1, 2, 3, 4 triggers above. Did anyone hope the area would break and take a short trade this morning? If you did, let's see it. Let's talk about it. There's ways to avoid it. And now my small triggers are up and my large triggers are up. But guys, my smalls are not above the large. The large are not wide in the direction of the trade. And I have to say to myself, even though I've got a clear path either direction, I don't have the momentum pushing the market to let me feel good about taking a trade. There's no reason for me to look for an entry. Does that make sense, everybody? This is your Ninja Trader. Ninja Trader has something we've been working with for years, guys. We're also working with TradingView. And TradingView uses 2 charts as well. It uses a 15-minute chart, and it also uses a 1-minute chart as opposed to the Renko bars. Your 15-minute chart, your big chart, guys, this is your roadmap for key targets. This is where turning points typically happen. This is where termination conditions, areas that could stop the market, need to be recognized. The trigger lines will define direction in the overall momentum of the market, guys. And momentum is the same on TradingView as it is on excuse me, as it is on NinjaTrader. Trying to find my picture here. I lost my TradingView momentum. That's okay. The idea is the same, guys. Separation is strength. Separation is strength. For my new TradingView people, because the 15-minute bars are so slow, so difficult to see change on, we're going to use the small triggers as well. So the idea here is that I do have momentum on that 15-minute chart. There's separation between the small and large. My brain should be thinking short trades only. But there's three sides of the triggers. There is the left side, and when price is left of the triggers, guys, it's strong. This is where we're looking for momentum style trades. This is where the market really is more likely to continue down. Once the trigger lines or the price bars work their way inside, you'll look at wherever price is printing. Once it's inside of those triggers, this is a transition. You're still looking for short trades because everything says down, but you may have to manage a little more assertively. And then once you get to the weak side of those triggers, guys, you're still looking for shorts, but you really want to look for maybe pullback to mid bands, a little more conservative, nothing in the way, manage a little more kind of trades. And you can see the same up top. You're on the strong side, the transition side, there's your weak side. And once those small triggers roll over and point down, guys, you find yourself on the strong side of those triggers. So every time I look at my large chart on TradingView, I say, okay, we're going up. Smalls above the large, momentum is up. I am inside of the small triggers, which means that it's a transition. It's not the best of the best strong look. And I'm trading right at an area and I'm trying to get above it, but I can see the trouble on my chart, guys. And if you look at your small chart, you can see the trouble on your chart here. The smaller, faster chart gives you the immediate. If I'm going to go up with momentum with these triggers, I need to be above this zone and on the good side of those small triggers. And that's kind of what we're going to do all day, is we're going to look at the charts and we're going to say, okay, once again, everything says down. My first glance is down. My small triggers are down. And price is right inside of them, which means we're transition. We're no longer strong, which means that if I'm going to look for a short trade, I probably shouldn't fight. Actually, it's not even a probably. I shouldn't fight strong triggers to the upside. If you took the trend trade from the mid band, you had all the trouble here. And guys, right now we're trying to figure it out. The small chart says down but weakness. The large chart says up, and they're just fighting. And if you look at your 1 minute chart, you can see that there's been no clear direction for the better part of 30 minutes. And this is where trading is difficult, guys. This is where problems occur. So look for momentum, define your path, pick an area, guys. We're going to do that with every chart that we look at today. In the room, I'm very willing to take trades on Simulator. Simulator is a great place to test your plan, to follow your plan, to see what happens when your plan is met. So I'm going to drop all this stuff in the room, guys. The KISS plan on NinjaTrader, if we get the rules met for a high probability trend trade, meaning that we have strong triggers, no termination conditions, and an area inside of triggers, I will pull the trigger on Simulator. Not to tell you to take trades, guys. This is an educational room to show you what it looks like in a live environment. But the thing is, I will not pull the trigger if my rules aren't met, because my rules describe a pattern, and that pattern can be proven to win more than it loses. And if I don't have that edge, I choose not to trade. I will manage that trade very mechanically. I'm going to use the same management from the plan that I just gave you. And this plan is designed to help you understand stop placement and getting paid on a trade. If we get the potential to break, I'll have to have 3 out of 4 trigger lines to even consider it. I'll have to be coming from a termination condition that reversed the market. And if divergence prints, guys, my checklist isn't met, I have to say no trade. So this KISS plan is a stepping stone for you guys that are brand new. It teaches you to recognize momentum. It teaches you to understand termination conditions. And it helps you define your entry with a plan that optimizes your chances of success. With a little study, simulation, class feedback, practice, guys, you'll get to the point to where you write your own plan. If we're looking at TradingView, the only way I'm going to take a trade is if my plan is met. So we'll look for trend trades. We'll look for high volume area trades. Guys, these are few and far between. And then we'll look for momentum trades. And this will probably be the majority. So I'm going to give you guys these plans. These plans are designed to help you and give you a roadmap and give you a set of concrete rules to follow, a checklist to follow each and every time you look for a trade. If your checklist isn't met, ladies and gentlemen, you probably don't have a trade because your checklist is going to keep you focused on the best of the best. Market opens in 8 minutes. So I'm going to say one more thing, and then we're going to spend a lot of time live market today, guys. We're just going to keep going back. This is what we see. This is what it means. Are the rules met? And what you're going to find, and you're going to have this realization, is that we're going to do a lot of nothing, guys. We're going to talk about the chart read. And just because it's going up doesn't mean there's a long trade. And just because it's going down doesn't mean there's a short trade. So to help fill time, one of the things you guys can do is ask a million questions. Post pictures that you have questions about. We're going to learn the rules, guys. We're going to keep repeating those concepts. Do I have momentum? I've reached a line. How many triggers have broken? Over and over. Repetition creates recognition. So we're going to say the same thing over and over and over. Everyone in the room has the ability to simulate. And the first step in becoming a confident trader, ASAP, post in my room. There are 21 of you in here, guys, and you're never going to meet anybody in this room outside of this room. So don't worry. If you post a loser, there's great lessons. If you post a winner, huzzah, way to do it. Great job. But what I ask is every time you post in this room, I want you to describe on your chart the momentum that you saw. Whether it was strong or weak, doesn't matter. I want to see what your chart read is. I want you to define how many triggers were through any area that could have been problematic. Define it as potential, as clear path or termination. Again, I'm not grading you on your trades. I'm trying to help you with your chart reads. Show me your entries and tell me why. And what you're going to do, guys, is you're going to say, hey, look, I followed my checklist. This is amazing. And your annotations, your identifications, it's going to serve as a recipe for long-term success. When you're doing things right, you have literally written out a recipe how to do things great. And if there was a mistake, maybe you traded into a termination condition, your annotations are going to identify challenges so that you can avoid them on the next trade. It gives you something to think about. So make sure that you're posting in the room. Guys, ask for help. Professional athletes have coaches for a reason because I can sit here on the sidelines. I have no emotional connection to your trades. All it is a chart read. And then you get all of my experience. If there's a way to do it better, we'll talk about it. Simplify. Keep it simple. Keep it focused. Get really good at one trade. Get really good at one trade on one market. There's always time to expand. The idea is that you're going to learn your pattern. You're going to learn what looks you're going to commit to. And guys, that's where using the spreadsheet that I'm about to give you is going to help out a lot because high probability trend trades are nothing more than a pattern. When my large chart has strong triggers, when my large chart has room to targets, buy a pullback at an area inside of triggers. That's your pattern, and it's going to look the same. Somebody asked me yesterday, I say in the room a lot, this is your look. And he asked me, goes, what does that mean, this is your look? If your rules are met, your chart will look like this. If your rules are not met, your chart won't look like this. So this is your look. This is your pattern, guys. And one of the easiest ways to get good at this look is to go take a bunch of pictures of it, to study it, to look at it. So this spreadsheet that I'm going to give you, and I'm going to give you one for NinjaTrader. I'm also going to give you one for TradingView. So the NinjaTrader is a little more extensive because we've been doing this longer. There's all the pictures of strong triggers, so you always know what it looks like to have that first rule met. There's also pictures of weak triggers so that you know what it looks like when your rule isn't met. Same with clear path terminations and entries. Well over 500 pictures of Nexgen users taking trades, posting them in the room, getting feedback, and what you'll find is if you start clicking on all these pictures, you're going to see a recurring theme. Momentum, at least the potential to break, pull back to areas inside of triggers, guys. And this is your recipe for success as a brand new user. There's ways to manage your trades. Up here is the management plan from the KISS plan, and it literally talks you through where your entry, where your stops go, and when it's appropriate to move a stop, where profit targets are. It walks you through it mechanically. There's a place for you to put your pictures. I encourage you, take a lot of pictures, guys. Even if you don't have a trade, take a picture. Talk about your chart read. The more you talk through it, the more you type on a chart, guys, the easier the chart reads become. And then finally, there's a trade tracking sheet. And this is the second part of getting to where you want to be ASAP. Guys, track your performance every day. Every time you take a trade, put it in that spreadsheet. Every time you take a trade, annotate that chart. And what you're going to do is every morning, you're going to come back and look at what you did yesterday. What worked, right? What are the things that are bringing you success? What are the things that are making your life great? For a lot of you, it's having momentum and a clear path. And when you have that, you're finding a way to make money. And then what didn't work? And for a lot of you, it's trading in determination conditions. It's just jumping into the market when the conditions aren't right. So if you go through this every morning, it's going to set you up for the day. Focus on the good, avoid the bad. It will accelerate the learning. And then if you use the second part of your trade journal, your tracking, guys, there's a spot for feedback from class. So not only are you going to, whoops, where's the one where I was at? Not only are you going to have your annotations, maybe if there was something that I saw that you didn't, you're going to get that feedback. Man, it looked great. It was perfect. And I might just say to you, hey, Ron T, put this in your plan. Hunter, this is the best trade ever. Put it in your plan. That goes over here. That's what you want to repeat. But as a brand new user, very often the feedback is going to be, hey, here's the challenge that I recognized. And I'm not just going to say, dag nabbit, Ron, you traded into a termination again. Oh my gosh, Jen, you didn't have strong triggers again. What I'm going to say is this is the challenge that you faced. Here's how to fix it. Here's the pattern that gets you out of it. Here's the recipe to make sure that you no longer trade into those termination conditions. And you'll see in the feedback the things that you need to fix, the things that are going to help you find success. So as you go through your journey, as you learn the software, as you learn these patterns, guys, post in the room a lot, ask a lot of questions, track your pictures. And guys, there's so many pictures you can take. You can take a picture before the trade. You can take a picture during the trade. You can take a picture after the trade. You can even take the picture if your rules weren't met, just reaffirming those rules. Guys, get shutterbuggy. Get happy. And let's go back. We're going to minimize this real quick. Price went from termination condition to termination condition, guys. Fib to fib. And now the market's open. We just got that bell. Here we go. S&P, I have odds favorable momentum. I do not have a clear path. Does everybody see the reaction off of Fibonacci? No reason to take a pullback to an area inside of triggers. Ladies and gentlemen, this market has absolutely nowhere to run. Does that make sense? Newer users, you guys on NinjaTrader, welcome to Nexgen. You now have the ability and a couple rules to know exactly where the market may turn. And now my smalls are below my large. And my large are down, and there's nothing in the way. I'm clear of trouble. And guys, look at this. I've got two areas inside of triggers. Whoops, I didn't want an MIT. And my rules say that if I get a pullback, I'm going to sell the market right at an area right inside of triggers. And this is what it's going to look like as you're waiting for that small crowd to fight. We're rooting for a reversal bar, guys. We are dying for them to push up just a little bit. These trigger lines, large, synthetic, define where the market is most likely to retrace. The areas inside decide where it's most likely to bounce and continue with this momentum. And guys, my stop will go a few ticks above those trigger lines, because that is where the market should not go if this is going to be part of that 70 to 80% winners. Is everybody with me? First it's momentum, then it's nothing in the way, and I'm looking for a pullback to an area inside of triggers. And guys, those areas inside of triggers define where the market is most likely to bounce and continue with the trend. And they either get me or they don't. I've done everything that I can do, but this is what it looks like live. And until they hit that blue line, as long as I have momentum, this trade's on the table. Just because they didn't get me here doesn't mean that they won't come back for me. So we're going to let this one brew. Guys, if you have any questions about it, fire it away. It all starts with momentum. Once I have momentum, did I reach the blue fib? I did not. Am I clear of this fib? I most certainly am. Do I have areas inside of that trigger range from the lowest line of the triggers to the highest line of the triggers? That mid band is my lowest point of resistance, guys. I'm going to try and get in a tick or two below that mid band because this market has momentum to the downside. This market, the odds are favorable for it to continue down. My path is clear. The KISS plan says this is my entry. The KISS plan says my stop goes up here where the market shouldn't. The only thing that I can't do is guarantee an entry. Did it really pull and not get me? Let's see what happens. Oh, that's 2 taps on it, and it didn't get me. There it is. 2 ticks below resistance. First target's at $100. Second target is $100. If I get a reversal bar in the direction of my trade, my new stop is 2 ticks above that reversal bar. If my first target is reached, I will go break even on this trade and hope that all that momentum pushes it down. Guys, I've done all I can do. This is the management from the KISS plan. If I enter at the area inside of triggers, then my stop goes where the market should not. It doesn't guarantee a winner. If I reach my first target, I now go break even. There's $100 in the bank. I have absolutely nothing to lose. And it either goes to my second target, which is $200 away from my amazing entry. Guys, we sold the high tick of that bar. And everything says down. So now I need the large chart to take back over. I need the big crowd to take back over and push it down to that $200 marker. The worst I can do on this trade, ladies and gentlemen, is a $100 victory. Are you with me? Welcome to Nexgen. That is some accuracy. I'm out. I made $100. I'm learning how to get paid. What you'll find, and let me bring this up, is this KISS plan, because a lot of you are like, gosh, Mark, why did you get out? This KISS plan is designed to optimize your chances of success. That very mechanical management plan is getting you focused on getting money into the account, guys. Is a break-even stop with odds favorable momentum and a clear path the best stop? Not always. I still have areas inside of triggers, guys, but the reality is if you take the best entry, if you learn to get paid, you take the risk off, base hits pay bills. All right, Victor, what did you say? Somehow I keep getting into trouble. Already had 1 loser and 1 winner. Now in this trend trade, am I seeing this right? So Victor, we're going to back up. And I know that you want to know about what's going on in the moment, but it's not my job to talk you through trades. It's my job to talk about reads. And you went long directly into a termination condition. And you went long directly into a termination condition. This is what you should be focused on right now. 2 trades, 2 termination conditions, 2 losers. Oh, did you win? Did you win one? So you got lucky on one, lost the other. And now what do you have? You have momentum. It has the potential to break. You entered at the area just above triggers. You're 2 ticks below. I would say your read is on point. The only thing now is whether or not they're going to give you that. But Victor, once again, and I've said this about 1,000 times, you should probably look at the big crude oil. These are the people that run the market. I know you're entering MCL, right? You're entering on the micro. There is so much information that you are not paying attention to by not looking at that big crude oil chart. But on your charts, absolutely, Victor, your read is correct. You had momentum. It very much has the potential to break, and you bought a pullback to the area inside of triggers. And you didn't have any divergence on your small chart. Your rules are met, my friend, 100%. But so you called it potential, right? It's not a clear path. It's the potential to break. It's only 2 triggers. And you say you think you're trading into a termination condition, but what you did, Victor, is you labeled it perfectly when you discussed your clear path. You are 100% right. It has the potential, but it's just potential. What does that mean? It means that it's okay to manage assertively, to get quick profits. You are hoping for a home run, right? I need this market to give me $440 worth of profit, and the damn thing hasn't even made it through the fib yet. Does that sound like a solid management plan? Not so much, right? You're hoping for home runs, and you're facing the best pitcher in the league. You can see the trouble. Would there be anything wrong, Victor? And I don't talk about how you should manage your trades, but would there be anything wrong with making a quick $100 and then getting break even? And then if it runs, outstanding, right? This is not the best of the best. This is not your high probability trade. This is a trade, I love it, where one of your advantages are missing. And because one of those advantages are missing, you may need to manage aggressively. Does that make sense? It could break and it could run. I'm not going to leave $100 worth of risk if I don't have to. I'm going to manage it assertively. If it goes, outstanding. I'm going to take quick profits. I'm going to get to break even ASAFP. Great entry, Victor, and great entries make very manageable trades. But I need you to give me one yes real quick, and let me know that you know, because, guys, we love to hide losers. Victor, directly into a termination condition. Do you see it? That's an avoidable loss. I don't know what you lost on that trade, but if you lost $1, you lost too much. The same with this trade. You got lucky, my friend. You had luck because you traded into a termination condition. And now this third one, right? This third one, now you've got a fighting chance. But look at where it's dying. And this is why getting paid quick, getting to break even. You can see the trouble. You know where the trouble is. It's okay to get paid at the trouble. And then protect your investment. That is the idea behind trading, guys, is to always put more into the account than you let fall out. And great management, great entries make it easier to do that. Let's see what Pete's up to today. Pete says, check it out, Mark. And guys, we're going to do this on everyone because I want you guys to get into the habit of asking these questions every time you look at your chart. I want you to say it out loud. I want you to scare the hell out of your cat or your dog, or I want their ears to pick up when they hear momentum. So Pete has smalls below the large, and he says, check it out. I've got momentum. And Pete says, I've got 3 triggers through. I don't have a clear path. And what do we say with 3 triggers? We say it's only the potential, so I know to manage, right? I know to manage. And then Pete doesn't enter. He enters on the wrong side of the triggers. Pete doesn't even have an entry area. Whoops, where's that call out? And it's the wrong side of triggers. And maybe get in the habit of doing this when the rules aren't met. Talk about what's going on. Pete still sells the mid band. And Pete says, you know what? I'm going to sell the mid band because everything says more likely to go down than not. And Pete says, I'm going to put my stop on the other side of this fib. And let me show you Pete's thought process on this one. I've gotten to the point to where I can read Pete's mind. Pete knows that with every trigger down, if price pulls back to resistance, it's more likely to continue down. Pete's stop is where the market should not go if this trade's going to win. And sure enough, down it goes. And then Victor, good lesson here. Look at this. Because it's medium probability, Pete gets paid right at trouble. And because it's medium probability, he doesn't hold. He protects his investment. Pete, this is great management, great understanding of the chart read, and great profit taking. And guys, you don't have to hit a home run every trade. $100 here, $100 there. It all adds up quick. Nice trading, Pete. And this is what we're going to do, guys. Every time we're going to go back. We still have not broken above Fibonacci resistance. I still don't have a clear path. And look at what my small chart's doing over here. Smoking a lot of hopium on that long trade. Trigger lines define the retracement. Do you guys see this? Odds favorable, clear path. Let's talk about entry rules real quick. When this reversal bar prints, the market may retrace somewhere from the bottom of the triggers to the top of the triggers. Guys, our entry was so stinking good. We made $100 on a bar that didn't even become a reversal bar and got break even on the trade. Then it bounces off the mid band, still doesn't go where the market shouldn't. And then it bounces off the top of those triggers and it still doesn't get 5 ticks outside of those triggers. And then it starts continuing down with the large chart advantages. When we talk about entry rules, guys, when we say areas inside of triggers, triggers define where the retracement is most likely to go. This market put on an absolute clinic. Large chart defines which direction the market's most likely to continue. And the large chart put on a clinic 100%. Do you guys see it? This is why language becomes very important on trades. When you can define where the retracement is most likely to happen, you know where to put your stop. When you can define where the market is most likely to bounce and continue with large chart advantages, you know where to enter that market. You know where your stop goes. Then all you have to do is just wait and see if the pattern repeats. And guys, sure enough, the pattern repeats. That's a good lesson. Whoa! And now they're breaking. And now I've got 3 triggers through. And I've got odds favorable momentum, strong triggers. And if I get a pullback, I can say that market is likely to retrace somewhere from the top of the triggers to the bottom of the triggers. The market is most likely to bounce from the highest point of support to the lowest point of support. And if I choose to take an entry because my rules are met, my stop goes where the market should not. Does that make sense? We're just doing the exact same thing. I had to sit still into the termination because it created a big, ugly, and tradable bounce. Now I've got momentum, potential to break, areas for a bounce. Guys, rinse and repeat over and over. Rinse and repeat. And Victor, I don't know if break even would have saved you on all of the nonsense. I'm not sure how that one turned out. I hope it went well for you. You held it. Great entry. Never went where the market shouldn't with that potential to break. Paid at trouble. Absolutely no risk. And I'll be damned, that market's on its way up. Great trade, Victor. And that's where MCL helped. You had the potential. You took the perfect entry. The risk was minimal below the reversal bar. And sure enough, It did everything the large chart suggested it may do. Nice job, Victor. Great follow-up picture. I like that. I would say you're getting good at this. And the one thing that I think is a little funny, because I did this a lot too, is Victor, you second guessed your initial read, right? You identified it as potential, and then you said you think you're trading in determination conditions. Guys, we'll do this if the trade doesn't just run. We'll start second guessing everything. But you had it right, and it fit your rules, and you took the trade, and you followed your plan, and you're making your money. Great job, Victor. And I think that's the biggest thing. And let's talk checklists one more time. And I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to open up that KISS plan. And Victor, we're going to take the entry rules for that potential to break, and we're going to put them on your chart. It's 65.25. We'll look in just a second. Is the market coming from a strong top or bottom? Let's make this a little bigger for all of us with old eyes. Termination condition reverses the market. I have to answer yes to that question. Do I have strong triggers? The answer is yes. Do I have strong triggers? The answer is yes. No divergence on the 5-1? The answer is yes. Victor, your plan says you are obligated to enter at the area inside of triggers, doesn't it? There is no opinion. There is no hope. There is no wishing, no wanting, no prayer. It is simply following a plan. Great job, Victor. Guys, if you have a checklist, if you put that checklist on your desk, if you follow that checklist religiously, Victor, I've been doing this for 6 years. And remember, I'm looking at a chart that isn't moving. I'm looking at a chart. I'm not in the trade. I have no emotional connection for it. Guys, this is why taking pictures is so important. Because Victor, when you go back and you look at this chart, will you be able to say my rules were met? That's it. That's all. And the answer is yes. And because your rules are met, you're obligated to take that trade because that's what your plan says. There's no room for your opinion. All right, Caleb sold at the pullback and achieved profit. That's amazing, Caleb. Why? Why did you do it? Why did you trade directly into a termination condition? Actually, why did you trade directly into 1, 2, 3, 4 termination, 5 termination conditions? From a bad top with the market way up here. It doesn't bug me that you did. This is your life, your trade, my friend. But sold at pullback. Why didn't you sell it here? Why didn't you sell it here? Why didn't you sell it here? Right? Why didn't you wait for this one up here? Guys, you can post in my room all you want, and I am just 175 ways proud of you for making money. But I'm going to tell you, and I don't mind telling you, and it doesn't hurt my feelings to do it one bit. If I have a weak top, it's not a termination that reverses the market. If I have no triggers through, no triggers through, no triggers through, no triggers through, hit a mid-band, and my large triggers are more than a full bar away, which makes the mid-band a termination condition, this is a trade that despite your win, is going to lose more than it wins. Guys, this is the lowest probability trade I could ever hope for. I don't have momentum because my large triggers aren't down and wide. I don't have a clear path 5 times over. And yeah, there's a mid-band, and it's inside of areas, but it's all directly into everything. It's low probability. So, Caleb, great job. I'm glad you made money. Guys, I can't make you annotate your charts. I don't know if you saw those. I don't know if you were managing around those. I don't know if you knew you were trading in determination conditions. I have absolutely no idea. So it's difficult for me to help you with the chart read if you don't tell me what the chart read is, guys. If you just want to say, hey, look, I made money, just go, hey, look, I made money. And I don't need a chart read, Mark. I don't need feedback. I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that I was getting paid. And I know that sounds harsh, and I apologize. But guys, trading is about advantages, and trading is about long-term success, right? And one of the phrases that you're going to hear in this room a lot is that short-term victories very often lead to long-term failure because we get stoked about the money and we forget that there's a process to find the money, that we can have an edge. And there's just not always a trade. Victor, you said the hard part for you is waiting. Patience to enter at the right time instead of going faster thinking I can make a few more bucks if I get in quicker. Finally realizing I am not competing with other traders as to who gets there first or gets more, but you're competing with the chart and making sure you have the advantages on your side when you pull the trigger. Amen. And Victor, that is what we call the realization that you will never be in charge of the market, that you don't have to be the first one in, that you don't have to be the last one out. But guys, there's a pattern. There's a pattern that you can prove wins more than it loses. So I love it. I love that you got paid. Let's figure out how to get paid every day, right? 3 triggers through. Divergence on a 50-50 trade is the biggest killer of a potential to break trade. So much so that it says no divergence on the 5-1, that it reminds you divergence no trade, and even in the management, if divergence prints, exit the trade. Did anybody take that long trade believing they could beat the system? Did anybody take that long trade believing that weak triggers and divergence wasn't going to make it push down? Some of you may have. You sure wanted to. If you're following a checklist, ladies and gentlemen, your plan wasn't met, this is an avoidable loss. Way to protect yourself on that one, Victor. And if you're watching TradingView, let's go a little TradingView read. I go through the same routine every time I look for a trade on TradingView. And I'm going to go through it with you guys. I'm going to give you my 2 cents. This is what gets me to looking to see if my checklist is built. What direction is the market going? Can anybody help me with this so I can answer this question? The sun's in my eyes. I can't see it as well as I would like. What direction is the market going on this chart, guys? Anybody? You TradingView guys, this is a great opportunity for you to play along. It's going down. All right. So there's our first one. It's going down. And now I'm going to say, what direction are my small triggers and where is price in relation? So guys, when you're doing this, watch this. That bottom line of the small triggers, you can use this on your chart too. I'm going to draw an arrow on that bottom line, and I'm just going to extend it off into infinity here. And I'm going to ask myself, where is price? Am I left of it? This is the strong side. Am I inside of those triggers? That's a transition. Am I above those triggers? That's the weak side. Does that make sense, everybody? This is it. So strong side, inside of those triggers would be more of a transition, have to be a little more aggressive. And if I'm above them, it's weak. Does that make sense, everybody? So here I go. I'm strong side. So right now, the market is going down. My smalls are going down. I'm on the strong side of the smalls. I can't wait for the next step because the next step is going to help me understand some stuff. Is there anything in my way to screw up my trade? And I don't usually say screw. I go the other direction, guys. Does everybody see that divergence low? Price tried to go and couldn't break it. Price tried to go and couldn't break it. All of my triggers are above these 1-to-1s. All of my triggers are above these 1-to-1s inside of a zone. I can see that there's some trouble on a large chart. So when I'm looking to take a trade, I'm already below these 1-to-1s, which means they're really not a factor. This zone, I'm already below that zone. It's really not a factor. The one thing I'm not below is this divergence low. That's going to be what could screw up my trade. And then if you come to your small chart, I've got the advantage of zones as well. This zone could halt forward progress, and it does. This zone could halt the push down, and it does. My smalls are up, my large are rolling. Guys, if I'm going to look for a trade to go with the large chart direction from the strong side of those triggers, I'm going to look for a trend trade because I don't have the momentum on the small chart to help me out. I'm going to look for some sort of pullback to an area and take a close on the correct side of the triggers. Does that make sense? If no, if nothing in the way, go look for an entry. And now I'm going to use my checklist. Are my rules met for a momentum trade? I don't have momentum. I can't. What do I have to look for? I have to look for a pullback to an area and a close below. Does that make sense? You TradingView people? This is what I go through every time I look at my chart. What direction is the market? What direction are my small and where am I? Strong, transition, or weak? Is there anything in the way to screw up my trade? Until this chart says look for an entry, I don't care what the small chart says. And sure, whoa, that's not what I wanted to do. I just entered the market. Whoops. It pulls right back to an area. This, I have a zone. It closes below the zone, and now it continues down from the strong side of the small triggers below trouble. This is using minute bars, guys, and that's what it's going to look like. Smalls are down, trend is down, strong side of the smalls. Is there anything in the way to screw up my good time? That zone right there. Just don't have time. I don't have room to make any money back to that zone. This is where I have to say, let's let it get below it, right? Or let's let the market roll from it. I don't have to trade into that zone. If you don't have the zone, you're below that outer band right now. If it pulls back up to this HVA, that's a good spot to try the short from the strong side of the triggers to get back, as long as you have strong triggers on the small chart. If you're a crude oil trader, it's up, but my small triggers are down. Price is on the good side of the small triggers, but it's directly into 1-to-1s in a zone. Can't find any reason to take a trade against the trend. Don't have a momentum look. If I'm going to try anything, I need it to be a pullback to an area with a close below. Does that make sense, guys? The trend is down. The triggers are down. I'm on the weak side of those small triggers. If I want to go down with the trend, I need to pull back to that mid band, take a close below the small triggers, and that's going to be my opportunity to continue with it. But because it's weak side, because we're coming from an area, guys, you got to manage these assertively. Your 1 minute is not giving you any indication that this market wants to go down. Price keeps closing above the small triggers. That HVA formed, letting you know that there were problems. You can't really go up into 1-to-1s, and there's not a lot of looks for down. Here's how I think. Momentum on the downside is forming. So Victor, momentum has already formed. You have strong triggers, right? Don't overthink it. You either do or you don't. The trigger's positioning the right place on the chart, hitting divergence and almost getting to fib. If the divergence and fib hold, it will reverse to the upside And the only thing in my way is another fib at 64.50. Retracement happening on the 5-1 around 64.92. So Victor, that's a lot of thoughts, right? If these areas that haven't been reached yet hold, then the market will reverse. Boy, that's a lot. Why try to predict the future? Let's go through it like this. Victor, are you ready? You guys are gonna get tired of me doing this. So much so that this is all you're gonna talk about on your charts. Victor, do you have momentum? It's not forming. It's there, right? Feel good about it. Do you have a clear path? Price reaches a divergence low. None of the triggers are broken. That is a 100% termination. Doesn't even show the potential yet. Does that make sense? This blue fib has absolutely no bearing on the chart read. Don't even have to look at it because you've already got an area in the way. Do you have an area inside of triggers? You do. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you enter at the lowest area, you have approximately $160, $170 per contract risk. And if you chose to take that trade, you're risking $170 per contract directly into an area that could stop the market. Does that make sense? All I did is go through it, right? Do I have momentum? Yeah. Is there anything in the way? Absolutely. If I choose to take an entry, what's my risk? 170 per contract. And if you're on a 2-lot, you're risking $340 to trade into an area that could investment. Only you can answer that question. And guys, it's also 1 tick off of Fibonacci support. Some of you will take this trade, guys. That's totally cool. It's up to you. I can't justify the money risked based on that look right there, especially if it's not coming from a strong top or bottom. But does everybody see, especially my NinjaTrader users, all we did is talk through it. Do I have momentum? I do. Do I have a clear path? I do not. My world in the KISS plan, I don't care about the area inside of favorable large triggers. It doesn't matter because this could create the bounce. And guys, I also want you to see, we are 1 tick off of Fibonacci support. 1 tick. Let me show you how fibs are born for you guys that haven't seen this yet. When you open your software, whoops, get over to this screen. When you open your software, guys, your T3 Fibs Pro Trader, it goes through every swing in the market. It takes Fibonacci retracements, projections, everything. Not only like on one swing, like if you were doing this manually, but it does every pivot in the market, every swing, every up, every down, every move for 10 days. And then it builds higher time frames and it does the same thing. And then it builds smaller time frames and it does the same thing. And then it projects forward and it looks backwards. And it comes up with tens of thousands of calculations. And then the algorithm kicks in and it weighs them and it sorts them and it finds the most important ones. And from tens of thousands of calculations, you get these singular blue and red lines. So sometimes they might miss them by a tick, right? And you have to say to yourself, this is the accumulation of 10,000 calculations. Sometimes they may overrun them by a couple ticks. So while these areas are outstanding to call potential tops and bottoms, we can also use those trigger lines to up the advantage, and we can use our plan to not make emotional decisions. It's leaning down. It's leaning down hard. I just don't have a clear path. And if you're a brand new user, if you just got into the game, confidence comes from the memory of success, and finding a way to give yourself the most success creates the most confidence. And when you trust your plan and you learn your plan and you believe in your plan, that's when you start to stick to the plan. So I love it. This is a great example, and it may break. And if it does, My plan says that it has to break without me. We'll come back to it. Where did it go? All right. So we had a clear path, not the best potential, difficult to define entry. And this is what Pete did earlier, right? With all the triggers down, if it hits resistance, resistance is likely to stop it. That's where Pete took his trade. Guys, if you avoided that one, they came back for you and gave you the mid-band inside of triggers. And now we have full-blown weakness, both triggers inside of the large, no areas inside of triggers. It's an avoidable loss if you try to get in at the mid-band, right? Do you guys see how that works? Let's take this picture. Mark, it couldn't possibly be as easy as always going back to these three things. So play along with me, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't mind. Do I have, or did I have momentum right here? What do you guys think? Smalls inside of the large, no separation. Do I circle it or do I block it out because the advantage is gone? Anybody? We're going to play the game where one of you has to answer or I don't go to the next question. There we go. Did I have a clear path? Here's the only fib that I see, and all my triggers are below it to the downside. Jen says, yes, Mark, you did have a clear path. Jen, I agree. And now watch this. I know that if I take a trade, it's a medium potential trade. If I choose to enter the market, it's not high probability. Watch this. Entry rules say sell a pullback, right? Add an area, and then here's the key. Inside of triggers. That's the language for entry. So there's my pullback. There's my first one. There's my triggers. There's no areas inside. There's my second pullback. There's my triggers. There's no area inside. I'm obligated to cover up entry area. Does that make sense, newer users? So when I look at this chart, I have to say no momentum, no entry. Do you have to sell that mid-band hoping it goes down? I don't feel like you do. There's no reason to take these losers, guys. Once you learn the simple pattern, once you learn the language for the pattern, there's no reason to get run over on that trade. It's still holding. If you thought it was going without you and jumped in, you're panicking. If you just jumped in at the mid-band, you're like, oh man, I sure hope it goes. I sure hope it can break. It might not. I never know what the market's going to do. But I do know patterns that produce more wins than losses, and that's not it. That doesn't fit my plan. All right, guys, let's stretch some legs. I'll leave you with crude oil. We'll see what it does. And the cool thing is that we followed the plan once. We're up $100. It's a successful day already, right? And it's early. Market's only been open for 40 minutes. So let's keep waiting for the best of the best. Keep waiting for the plans to be met. And I'll be back in about 5 minutes, guys. Post them if you got them. I am back. It's funny. I was talking to my wife on the break, and I was like, my class is going to be so bored because we're following a plan and we're following rules. And if I can't find the rules met, there's just nothing for me to do. And guys, it hasn't done much of anything here, has it? Crude oil inventories are in 10 minutes. We'll see what happens. Weak triggers, no areas inside. Market's still not going down. Hey, good morning. There isn't a coupon for TradingView, Paul. Like Nexgen doesn't have a coupon for it. If you go to, I guess, Super Charts. Well, that just opened mine. Whoops. If you go to TradingView pricing, there's the different ones. If you pay annually, it's a lot cheaper than it is monthly. But what you can do is you can start your demo with them. And when you start your demo with them, they give you like 7 days, 14 days, whatever it is. They typically send you a coupon. They do it, though. We don't have anything to do with the pricing of TradingView. It's 100% up to them. Premium is what you need to run market flow. It's $50 a month if you pay annually. If you do it monthly, it's $60 a month. But I believe if you sign up for, and guys, somebody help me here. If you sign up for the demo, what they'll do very often is they will send you a coupon and try to get you a little discount on there to get you to commit. So Nexgen doesn't actually have a coupon for it. I hope that makes sense. Hope that helps. All right, what's TradingView saying? So there is gold, and gold says that the small triggers are up, or they're trying to turn up. I'm on the weak side if they're down. I'm on the strong side if they're up. But since they're flat, I don't have an advantage one way or the other. The zone definitely held, and then the zone above definitely held. And guys, there's really nowhere to go down, and it's too soon for up. And I hope that makes sense. There's not always a trade. There's just not always a trade. The NASDAQ is still down, and now price is getting to the weak side of those triggers. And my 1 minute is odds favorable momentum to the upside, guys. Absolutely no shorts against that. Even though this is down, and let me know if this makes sense. Let's take the picture real quick. We're just chart reading. I love this. Let me create a line in my triggers. This is the strong side. And this is the weak side. And does everybody see? We're on the weak side of small triggers, which means that shorts are going to be a little more difficult. They need to be managed. Make sure you're trading with the 1 minute chart. The 1 minute chart is odds favorable momentum up. So the overall read is it's down, but not strong. Nowhere to go down. 1 minute is strong up. That's confusion, guys. That's confliction. There's no confluence. It's okay to do nothing. Does that make sense? TradingView people. The trend is down. The triggers are down, but I'm on the weak side of them. And there's a big ugly zone. And my 1 minute says, hey, guess what? We're cruising up right now. If I want to go down with the trend, right? If I want to go down with the triggers, pull back to an area, close on the correct side of the triggers. But the problem is this outer band, this zone, I have to be aware of it. It's at 23,168, which means that all of my troubles, if I go short, start right here. And you have to decide, do I want to fight troubles for just a couple dollars? What's the S&P say? The S&P says straight into the zone, weak side of the triggers, everything set up. And guys, they're not giving a close on the correct side of the triggers here. Now, does this read help a little bit with this read? Renko said no momentum, no entry. TradingView said no clear path, wrong side, no entry. What about crude oil? Can crude oil give us any idea? Smalls are down. I'm on the strong side of them. There's room back to trouble, but trouble's been holding all day. There's my mid band, still holding. I do have a zone up. My smalls are up, but my large are down. If I were going to take a trend trade from the strong side of the triggers to try to get back to that zone, I would have to have a close on the other side of these triggers. And honestly, life would be much easier if this zone wasn't here, because you can see that they tried. Let me show you something cool about these tails in the information that they give you. They tried to break below the zone and failed. They did it again, and then they get below it. And now they're trying again, guys. If this bar closes below the small triggers, we could try a trend trade to get back to the zone, but look at that. It's just not happening yet. It's still holding. The small triggers are up. So the dashed lines are previous areas where the market tried to break and fail, I believe, George. I believe that's the phrase that they're using on it. So price had been there and it wasn't able to break through and it was problematic, but just use them, whether they're dashed or not. It's going to be hard to go short from above this zone, right? It's going to be hard to go short into this zone. Smalls are down. Smalls are down. Strong side. If you get a close, and here it comes, right? There we go. Just sell it. Oh, that's an ugly entry. And then where's trouble? Back to the zone. If this were my entry, guys, my stop loss has to go above the pivot that gets me in. My profit target goes at trouble. Does that make sense? Strong side, below the large, pushing down, pull back to the mid band, close below. If you're going to try your trend trade, and guys, it doesn't guarantee a winner. Those are your entry rules. You could even say, if they get back above this zone, I don't want it. But my smalls are down, my large are down, my smalls are down, the strength is down, the mid band. Now we're just waiting to see what they do. And guys, I don't know what happened with that entry. It's about 3 days lower than it should have been, right? Should have been up another 2 or 3 points. I've defined that it's not high probability because the market is up. I'm on the strong side of the triggers. And guys, it just never gets through the zone. And you're right, Pete. Up, down, that's indecision. To go with these strong triggers, that would have been your entry. There is no long trade. And this one still may get me. I moved my stop above the zone, not above that one, trying to be clever. And it looks like it's about to whip my ass. It happens sometimes, right? And news came out. Oh, news is about to come out. So it should have been no trade because of news. It's churning. They're jockeying for position. Thanks for saying that, Victor. I've got news. I shouldn't have been in a trade. should not have been in a trade. Golly. That's what simulator's for, guys, to make mistakes. How do we feel about this? Termination condition still holding, isn't it? There's a pretty good spike. I think I'm in different contracts. That's 65 flat. That's 64.98. Maybe. That was a big spike up to 65.04. Did it do it here? It did. It spiked up to 65.04. So guys, same thing. Rinse and repeat. Nowhere to go. Weak side of the triggers. And it's still going up, guys. It's ugly. Weak side of down triggers. Trend is down. There was your pullback. That was your first close on the correct side of triggers from the zone, if you were going to take it. There's your new spikes. And then gold is being gold. Absolutely crazy. Strong triggers down. There's your close on the correct side of the triggers, right at the mid band with room back to trouble. And it made it to trouble. Rinse and repeat, guys. Rinse and repeat. How long does it take in between trades, guys? Does it take a minute? Is it 10 minutes? Is it 20 minutes? What's your record? My record is watching the market for 4 hours and not getting rules met. I was able to avoid about 17 losers by following my plan. So we're at a point right now where I'd love for you guys to start chirping a little bit. Mark, this is what I need help with. I recognize momentum. What do you guys think? Price reaches resistance. None of the triggers have broken through. Are you so bored that you want to take that trade? Are you so tired of not being in a trade that you're in the long position into the termination condition? I've done it. I'll admit it in front of everybody in this room. I have been so sick of waiting for a trade that I fabricate a trade. Go back to your plan. What does your plan say? Your plan's there for a reason, right? You have a plan because your plan has been proven to win more than it loses. You have a plan because you know why you'll enter a trade, because you're describing a pattern that's been proven to win more than it loses. Miss Kathy, let's see what you did. You had momentum, no clear path, no trade for you. I love that you put this on your chart. Are you finding that helpful? I know a lot of people don't have Snagit. I always say, guys, just print it out. Like if you print out momentum, path, and entry, just print it out on a piece of paper and have 3 sheets of paper and cover it when one of them goes away. Is that the RTY, Miss Kathy? Or what was that, gold? That's gold. I admire the bravery of you guys that trade gold. Gold tends to be a little temperamental for me. Let's see if we can open up a gold futures market. What contract are you on? Did it roll? You are on August. I'm on August. Okay. I'm going to open it up and see what gold did. Whoa. Nothing wrong with that. And that was it, right? And it went anyway, didn't it, Kathy? Isn't that something? Those sons of guns. They do that sometimes. So many opportunities on the way down, though. Did you catch any of these? Because easy one, easy one, easy one, and then that one just decided to go. The easiest money you'll ever make. Trading away from areas. Trading to areas, and you probably weren't watching at the time, right? And that's okay. And the worst part is if you didn't catch it, didn't catch it, didn't catch it, you're more inclined to break your rules on that one. And there's pretty much the same look at one-to-ones, and that's the one that failed. So more often than not. Guys, now we have a termination condition that reversed the market. Now we have strong triggers. What do we think about our path, guys? Is it potential? Is it a termination? Or is it clear? It just keeps getting better. Caleb, so I would right-click on my chart, and I would go to buy limit, and I would drop it in right there, just above the area inside. If you do it above price, sell limit is your first option. So you can put it right at the areas inside. And Chariot, perfect. It's potential. And guys, now it is strong bottom, odds favorable, 3 triggers. If I get a reversal bar, and it just keeps getting better as it moves up, if I get a reversal bar, that mid-band represents my highest point of support inside of triggers. Is everybody with me? Momentum, potential. If I get the reversal bar, I can buy the area inside of triggers. My plan says if divergence is true, I have to abort the mission. If divergence prints and is true, negative number prints, magenta line prints, I have to hit cancel on my trade because my plan is no longer met. Is everybody with me? You all have different plans, but the KISS plan says, not my money if divergence prints. Now, if these trigger lines get above the fib and I get 4 triggers in a clear path, I couldn't care less about divergence. Doesn't scare me. Does that make sense? Because one divergence probably isn't going to beat momentum and path. But when it's only the potential to break, divergence is one of the biggest indicators that it's probably not going to work out. We are 1 tick from having 4 triggers above. Where's our ceiling? Way up there. All right, I have odds favorable momentum. I have a clear path. I have areas inside of triggers. The only thing we're missing, ladies and gentlemen, is a pullback to that darn mid-band inside of triggers. Take a picture, right? Does it fit the rules? Momentum? Yep. Clear path? Absolutely. Entry area? Without a doubt. The only thing I'm not in control of is whether or not they come get me. If they do, let's take it a step further. If I do get an entry, my initial stop will be 4 ticks below those triggers where the market should not go. They'll either stop me out or they'll continue up with the large chart. I don't even know if they're going to come get me. But this is exciting because, guys, this fits the KISS plan. Strong triggers, no terminations, area for entry. This is a pattern that I can prove wins more than it loses. This is a pattern that 70 to 80% of the time creates victory potential, and 20 to 30% of the time it's going to run me right over. I never know what it's going to be, but I have an edge. I have an advantage. Steve, strong triggers, room to trouble, and you just jump in and make it. Beautiful. Strong triggers. You let this one become a trend trade. Very nice. Stop where the market shouldn't go, and you take it all the way down. Beautiful trade, Steve. Both of them fit your plan 100%. And you know what's cool, and I love to see this, is guys, that's the same trade that we took, got paid, and got out break even. Steve, through practice, simulation, study, class feedback, understands where the market may retrace. And when the look is this, he knows it's more likely to go down than up. And where I made $100, Steve made a lot of bucks. Nicely done, Steve. And then the only challenge, well, you never actually made the fib there, did you? You did. You hit the fib, and you hoped that the fib would break, and gave back from 63.25 to 66.50. And that's a lot of money to give back so close to a fib. All right, our midband is almost not inside of that trigger line anymore, guys. It's right at the bottom, which means that if we get an entry, I'm going to have a whopping 5 or 6 ticks of risk. I have momentum. My path is outstanding, and my midband is right at the bottom of that retracement zone. And if I get filled, my stop is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, let's see, 45, about right there. You guys with me on this one? First it's momentum, and then it's a path, and once that's there, define where the market's most likely to bounce and continue with the trend. And if it does, outstanding. And if it doesn't, well, it's not my money. And if they run right through it and hit my stop, guys, I'm going to give up all of $70 per contract. 2 ticks above, come get us. Come on, you can do it. Almost there, so close. This is so exciting. But that's where my entry comes from, guys. And if they run up right now without me, well, it just wasn't my money. It just wasn't my money. You were going to take it on sim, but alas, it seems that the data wouldn't load on gold. Right-click and reload historical data. One of my favorite entries is when you guys jump in at the top of this bar because you didn't get filled, and then they come back for you. There's a reason it's areas inside of triggers, guys. 2 ticks above. 2 ticks above. And you also reconnected your account, and it didn't? That's interesting. There's our entry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ticks below triggers. If I get a reversal bar, then I will put my stop 2 ticks below it. If I hit my first target, I'll go break even. If they stop me out, I'm out of the trade. Any questions? There's people in the room that love it when I lose live. Ah, Mark lost. Guys, I'm not in control of wins and losses. I have a very specific plan. There's a reason I don't trade gold. There we go. $120. Guys, there's a reason I don't trade gold. Gold is like a neurotic X, and it runs over a lot. Need to head out for an eye check. Awesome. Take care, Steve. Great trading, man. There's a reason when I teach, guys, I teach on crude oil because crude oil moves smooth, predictable. I teach on the S&P because the S&P moves smooth, predictable. Gold likes to overrun stuff. And it's tempting to go trade a market that doesn't like to follow rules because you're bored. That's up to you. That's on you. But that's a great example of why the only reason I'd ever open a gold chart is because you guys want to see a gold chart. Termination condition pulls all the way back to the large triggers. And now they're going to make decisions, guys. Momentum is up. No clear path. No clear path down. What do? Do I try to predict it? Do I hope I can beat the system, or do I just sit tight? My plan says sit tight. Termination condition 1, guys. Once again, do you see it? How many times do you have to lose money into one of these lines before you stop trading into these lines? That's what my brother asked me. That's what my brother asked me. Mark, how many times are you going to lose trading into lines before you stop trading into lines? Hands in pockets. Someone told me once, they're like, man, the live market, you don't do much, do you? No, because if there's nothing to do, I'm obligated to do nothing. If there's nothing to do, I'm obligated to do nothing. Guys, that was your zone. And look at it hold, right? Weak side of the triggers. Pull back to the HVA with the triggers up. Guys, that's your HVA trade. Right at 21.69. Hold on. Zone reached on the 15-minute. 1 minute small triggers turn. Buy or sell a pullback to the HVA line on the 1 minute chart. That sure feels like it fit the rules. Do you guys see it? Zone, roll, buy. It's not a prediction. It's not a guess. It's not a hope. It's a checklist. It's a pattern that I can prove. Wins more than it loses. If I'm in at 69, guys, 79 right at that HVA line is $200 per contract. $200 per contract. And then there's just no reason to hold, because look at all the trouble. Mid-band, HVA, the trend is still down. The triggers are still strong. But this is an opportunity based on rules to capitalize. Let's see what S&P says. Direction is down. Triggers are weak. Not triggers are weak. We're on the weak side of the triggers, which means that if I'm looking for a short, I don't want to fight. And right now, both of my triggers are up. So if I took a short, that would be a fight. Guys, can you hear me? Give me a Y if you can hear me, please. No audio? Uh-oh. Pablo, you can always hear me. I wonder why that is. We must be on the same internet. Andy's got me. All right. Since I've got a couple of you that can, if you can't hear me, reboot. John Novak, can you hear me? Hunter, can you hear me? Jen, can you hear me? Caleb, can you hear me? All right, guys. How was that? Can you hear me now? Is that better? I just restarted. A lot of times that'll fix it for you guys. Andy still got me. Pablo's still there. I like it. Can you guys hear me better now? We all right? Sound loss, Caleb. Shoot. I'm going to go live real quick. So I've got most can't. Okay. All right, guys, can you hear me? Are we good? Are we there? Is it on? Yay! And there was much rejoicing. So what do we see? Trend is down. Talk through it with me, guys. Trend is down. Smalls are down. Prices on the weak side. If I'm looking to trade with the trend, my highest chance of success comes from a pullback and then a close below the small triggers. I've got a lot of things in the way right here, though. And from that weak side, it's going to be a little more difficult trading directly into zones. Does that make sense? Guys, these zones are money. Look at what the market does there. If you're trading without zones, you're trading without a little bit of an advantage there. And guys, this is just hasn't broken through. Large are finally rolling. Smalls are down. I'm on the strong side, and there's just nowhere to go. No momentum up, and it didn't go up. That's kind of cool. All right. Do I have momentum on the large chart? What do you guys think? Give me a Y or an N. Momentum on the large chart. Remember, we got to get to where we do this quick because I just showed up. I'm all caffeinated. No. Kathy says yes. Kathy, I disagree. Look at where my smalls are in relation to the large. There's no gap. Like, no gap. Let's do a quick momentum lesson. I love it when you guys answer. Momentum is always one look. And we're talking best of the best, and then I'm going to show you the second thing. The only way I can ever have momentum, guys, is if there's separation between, or strong triggers, is that look right there, like scissors that are open and they're just dying. Jerry said once they can cut you a check when the scissors are open. That's my look. That's the best. That's the momentum that I want to feel like an area is going to break. So I'm not quite there. I do have one line out. That's cool. But I also hit Fibonacci support, and all my triggers are above. And I'm at that darn divergence line again, and my triggers didn't break. And there is the siren song. Is everyone familiar with the siren song? Luring sailors to their death, crashing their boats upon the rocks. If I don't have momentum, and Kathy, did that make sense? We want to see that separation. That's our look. This just kind of says, meh, we might go down. Divergence says, even if you called it the potential, it's getting bad. But the sirens in the most beautiful voice you've ever heard. Take the short. What if it works? Take the short. There's an area inside of triggers. Doesn't that mean winner? Some of you may do it. Some of you may not. But if I go back to my checklist, guys, I am obligated to not take this trade based on my plan, which means those of you that want to see the, hey, Mark, get in, let's see what happens, I can't. I can't do it. I can't break my plan. Because even on simulator, my brain believes in muscle memory. Even on simulator, if I take this trade without my advantages and it wins, my brain believes that I'm doing something right. And that short-term victory, that lucky trade, I'll start doing it here and it won't work out. And I'll start breaking my rules here and breaking my rules here and breaking my rules here when it's easier just to follow the rules. All right. Torn between two lovers and feeling like a fool. Resistance, look at the bounce. And where did it go? Right to the large triggers. And now we're waiting. Are they going to break? I don't know. I just don't. The immediate chart said don't go up. Uh-oh, John, did you take the HVA trade? You did. Guys, remember when we said if the large chart hits a zone, if the small triggers roll, buy the green line? John Novak. We talked about this live, and John took it. And he took his first profits at treble. He took his second profits at treble. And the worst he can do on this trade is 39 ticks at 5 points a tick. So what is that? 5, 45, 4, 15. So the worst he can do is $195 on his runner. Does the plan work? That's what you have to ask yourself. Does the plan work? Damn right it works. Have I learned how to work it? That is the perfect HVA trade. Rooting for you, John Novak. And I bet he's probably somewhere around here because with everything up, he's expecting that HVA line to give him a shot at getting up to his target, which is treble on the large chart. So this is straight out of the plan. Whoops. We'll use the checklist. Some of you are sick of me talking about the checklist, right? Zone reached on the 15-minute chart. Absolutely. 1 minute small triggers turn are below large from highs above. Man, they did turn, and they actually turned into odds favorable momentum, which is just bonus. Buy or sell pullback to HVA line on 1 minute chart. Right there. When I first started with the software, guys, I would see people take this trade. I would realize that the rules were met somewhere around here, and then I would jump in, and then I'd get stopped out. Some of you may be at that point. I think I see a trade. I'm going to second guess it. I'm going to talk through it. I think it is what it is. Let me get in right here at treble, only to get stopped out, and then let it do everything that it was supposed to do from the nice entry. And guys, the easiest way to get over that is start taking pictures. Write down your checklist and just scroll back. Where were my rules met? Right? Everything set down. I had room to treble. It pulled back to a mid-band and gave me a close below. That's a good looking trend trade. Scroll back. Look for the entry rules on the small chart and see if the large chart supported them. There's a lot of shenanigans going on here. Strong side of the triggers directly into areas. Might not be my money right there. But when it breaks through with momentum and pulls back to the bottom of the area right there, guess what? That's your momentum trade. Going with direction. So there's some study that goes into being good at this, guys. There's some practice that goes into being good at it. I think one of the easiest ways to do it, and I'm just going to go to the S&P, and I'm not even going to look at my small chart and what it's doing. Samuel, do you have the premium? Are we talking TradingView? Okay, so to put market flow on there, go to indicators, invite only, and it's T3 market flow. All you have to do is click on it. But one of the things, Samuel, and this is what confuses people when it happens or when you first get it, is so if I see all of this, all that market flow, if I take it off, it obviously goes away. And when I put it back on, it starts fresh. There is no historical. Did it get on? It did. So my market flow is just now going to start working. All of this goes away. So if you put it on there, be patient for a second. It'll come on, but that's all there is to it. And if for some reason you don't see it in your indicator, Samuel, get with Jason. Send him your ID, and he'll make sure that you get it. And see, now my market flow is coming on. Awesome. So guys, go to your big chart, right? And without even looking at the small chart, let's ask ourselves those questions. The trend is down. Does everybody see it? The background's red, the smalls are below the large. The trend is down, but it's a big slow chart. What direction are my small triggers? So small triggers are up. And what do you guys think? Am I strong, transition, or weak side of those triggers? So let me draw my line, my mental line, or otherwise. TradingView users, am I strong side of the small triggers that are up? Am I transition inside of the triggers, or am I weak side? Somebody help me out with this one. I'm having a brain fart. And I'm looking at where price is currently. Anybody? Andy V says weak. Pablo says strong. So Andy V, left of the triggers is what we consider strong. Right of the triggers is what we consider weak. And Andy, I know that you're on NinjaTrader and not TradingView, but that was a good guess. If this were a Renko chart, absolutely, we would not have momentum in that situation. But because it's a TradingView chart, we have to look at it a little differently. And if you're not on TradingView, guys, remember that these are different platforms and there's different scenarios. So Pablo, 100%. We're strong side of the triggers. And now my next question. Anything in the way on this chart to create some shenanigans? Well, I haven't reached these one-to-ones, right? But we're not there yet, right, Pablo? So they're in the distance, they're on my radar, and I'm above mid-bands and VWAPs. So with the strong side, with everything, this is up, strong side, and I've got room to trouble. And my trouble's right about here on the large chart. Are you with me? So I know that I'm looking for up. I'm not looking for down because I want to be on the good side of those small triggers. So let's see if there's opportunity. Don't want to trade directly into a zone. Don't want to trade directly into a zone with strong triggers and a breakout above the zone. Perhaps an opportunity if I take that one. My stop goes below the zone. The easiest trades is break above, pull back with strong triggers, and let's see if we can get to trouble. Does that make sense? So because we're on the strong side of the small, we're looking for a momentum style trade over here. And they got to the one-to-ones. Dang it. They got to the one-to-ones, which took that trade off the table. So Pablo, good job. You saw them. You knew that they could be trouble. And sure enough, they were trouble. Man, that was close. Would I enter once the first? So this is the, oops. If you did, Pablo, is 3 ticks of profit potential to get to trouble? Does that feel like acceptable risk? Not really. I agree with you. I don't believe that's enough. That's enough. Now, it didn't fit the rules, but even that same concept, if I got in at 64.25 and I had 2 points, it makes sense, right? If I found an entry lower and I had this far to get back, then it makes sense. And that's one of the things that I'll do is when it's time to define an entry, well, do I have any room to make money? This one didn't. So even though it's strong triggers and a pullback, it already hit my target. Does that make sense? This is a good lesson. I'm not trading to a target anymore because it already reached it. So now it's actually coming off of that target. And it's still up, and it's still strong side, but without momentum, my only option would be a trend trade, but I've already reached my target. And now I'm back below the mid band. I'm back below the VWAP. I have strong triggers against it to the downside. Not a short trade yet, but it is a downtrend. Hard to take a trend trade long with the smalls so far below. And I'm just back in a holding pattern. Those one-to-ones took us out of the momentum trade. Said, okay, no momentum trade. Thank goodness, right? We're still strong side. They're still up. Now we're above trouble. We'll see what it does. That's not the best look, just because there's a lot of risk if you take the close on the correct side of the triggers. On the NASDAQ, the one-to-ones did the exact same thing, didn't they? The exact same thing. Not taking that momentum trade. I've already reached the target. Sometimes there's not a trade. Remember that, because right now, Pablo's going, well, shoot, if I couldn't take that, is this my trade? Is this my trade? Is this my trade? You got to say, what do I see? I see smalls up, strong side, nowhere to go. Dang it. Odds favorable, momentum down. That contradicts strong side up. Trend still down. Guys, there's these little transition areas where it's just hard to find something to do. When your charts agree, trading becomes easy. Good stuff. All right, I'm going to take 5 minutes, guys. If you take a trade, post it. If you have a question, ask it. If you need help, request it. I'll give it to you. I'll be back in just a few minutes. don't know. I'm no good at time. Termination condition for the win. Once again, you guys ever get tired of hearing that? Termination condition for the win. Termination condition for the win. No triggers through yellow 1-to-1s and big untradeable bounce ruining my good time. Over and over. Terminations for the win. My goodness, it did it again, didn't it? All right, guys, we've got 30, 40 minutes. What do you want to talk about? How we doing? Miss Jen, how's your day going? Samuel, how about you? I know you're working TradingView now. Is there anything I can do to help you with? Morgan, anything you want to work on? Bejoy, always good to see you. How can I help? Paul, I know you're setting stuff up. Let me know if you need help. Hunter, it's great to have you in the room. Joel Beal, Ollie, great to see you. I'll go. Always nice to see you here, Tom. Just waiting for rules met, huh? Sometimes it's a long wait. Vibing currently. Trending has been a bit slow this week, huh? It seems that way. You signed up for funding. You're figuring out how to access the account now? No worries. If you need help, let me know. Oh, John, he was talking about a different look, a different trade. Oh, okay, you're with Jason? No worries. It's not that hard the second time, Samuel. Isn't life like that? It's not that hard the second time. When you're signing up for it and you're setting up for it, it does run through everything. And I believe there's a video that helps, but Jason will get you all squared away too. And let me know if I can help, Samuel. You know that I like helping. Yeah, John, he was talking about a momentum trade. So we were looking at, just so John knows, John likes to come into the room and not have the big picture. So John, we were talking about strong triggers up, and we were talking about breaking above the zone and coming back. And then Pablo had the awesome chart read. He goes, well, there's 1-to-1s, right? There's a zone. And there just wasn't room to take the trade. So it was awesome. He goes, well, could you get in when that bar goes up? And it turned into a conversation about how there just wasn't any room to make money. So we kind of were doing the whole thing. But the question about the white bar, John, was could you just enter as this one breaks the zone? But once it confirms, there's just no room to get paid. That's where that white bar conversation came in. And now we have large triggers down, triggers up, prices on the weak side of the small triggers, but there's nowhere to go. And yeah, it will. And John Novak, Pablo's the guy that goes out and golfs with me here in Spokane. He gets to see how horrible of a golfer I am. So if you guys need to get together and make fun of me, he's a great person to do it. And if anyone else is in the area, I do like meeting people. Strong side of the triggers, coming from the zone. Just nowhere to go. Not yet. Not yet. What's crude oil doing? Trend is decidedly down. Area is definitely up. Transition side. Hurry up and wait. I am, Andy. Are you close by? My wife and I are here on a little bit. So she works nursing contracts. And obviously I work from anywhere my computer is. So we are in Spokane for another 3 months or so. We're here till November. Our kids grew up, moved out, and now we just kind of go see the world. So we've done the Pacific Northwest. This is our third run in the Pacific Northwest. When this one's done in November, we'll go back to Texas for the holidays. Montana Plains. I'm not sure. We may have driven through that on the way here. So pretty up here, Andy. So pretty up here. So are you in Montana or is that Idaho? Highway 200? It is Montana. Okay. I know that there's that fine line in there. I'm like 25 minutes from Idaho. I go there to fill up my gas tank because they don't tax you the way Washington does. This winter, we're going to go down to Florida and try to find a contract just so that we can bug John Novak. He'll be my golf buddy for a couple months. And then you guys on the East Coast, we're coming up next summer. So bouncing, living life, guys. When you get good at reading your indicators, it's so much cheaper in Idaho, Andy. And I'm not a big drinker, but I like, if I do have a drink, it's one of those vodka seltzer in a cans. And the tax here in Washington is about 50%. So if it's $20 for the actual product, it's $10 on the tax for wanting to buy the actual product. It's ridiculous. But it sure is pretty. Worth every penny in short spurts. It is gorgeous here. All right, guys, what do you want to talk about? No, bourbon makes Maker's Mark and coffee flavored tequila. Why would you ruin the flavor of tequila with coffee? Victor, we're growing apart, man. We're growing apart right now. I do love tequila. because is a good reason. I've never had a coffee flavored. I'll try it. Sake your dark rum, Andy. You belong on a beach, my friend, not in Montana. Andy's a pirate too. I like this part of the room, guys. I like it where we all just kind of, hey, this is who I am, right? Makes it easier to post in the room too when you feel comfortable with the people around you. Guys, termination conditions are just killing it on crude oil right now. Termination conditions, just killing it on the S&P right now. Sometimes there's just nothing to do. Sometimes there's nothing to do. Shorts are short-lived and not working on crude oil. It's the same thing that we see on the Rincos, right? Strong side of the triggers, pushes down, can't go short into zones. Now it's rolling up, just trying to find that path. You're video editing until it gets better. See, that's smart. And then the NASDAQ working its way up. I've got a sketchbook on my desk. Guys, I'll draw. I will sit and sketch because there's nothing going on. I have on my desktop, I've got MSN Casino, which apparently isn't loading. And I'll play like video blackjack because it means that I'm not trying to fabricate rules. Because I know if my large chart's good or not, right? I have smalls above the large, but there's nowhere to go. I don't need to keep looking at my charts. I can distract myself for a minute. Can we do it? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't do it in fast mode because you're going to video it live. So on, like if you go to Snagit, you can do the video and you can capture the video and you could do this, Victor. Get ready. And here comes, and it'll give you right here. You're like, okay, here comes the trade. 3, 2, 1. And watch how you can talk yourself through it. You're like, oh man, I've got strong triggers and strong triggers are amazing. And I can't wait to go long because my trend is up. And I'm looking over here and I still don't have a clear path. And this is what I need to see. And let me just stop the recording because there's nothing there. Victor, you can record every trade you take, and what you can do is you can talk yourself through it, And you'll hear when you break rules. You'll hear yourself convince yourself to trade in termination conditions. But yeah, videos are a definite option. I don't tend to do them in the live room just because we're talking about enough in the moment in the live room. But if you go to, I love it because Victor, you'll be amazed at the things you tell yourself when the trade isn't right and you take it anyway. But guys, if you go to the Nexgen software services and you go to the videos, under shorts, you'll see little pictures. Under playlists, Victor, this may be helpful for you because you're at that point. The 60-second video series, it is in Spanish and in English. And I always click on the Spanish one first on accident. There it is right there. But from this, inside of the video series, if you look at the playlist, there's actual video, Victor, of a trend trade short, of a trend trade long, how to define the trend, termination conditions, how to define your entry long, entry short, studying trend trades, following the plan, large time frame analysis. So here's that 60-second video list, guys. I love it because those of us with short attention spans, it's very direct and to the point. And Ollie, you said this is not my trading plan, but price bounced off the large triggers multiple times and triggers were expanding, so I decided to take advantage of this even though a termination condition was present. Let's see what you did, Ollie. So Ollie, you said, actually that's a strong bottom. You have all the momentum. You have a termination condition. You had an entry. So, Ollie, you said this one isn't in your plan, right? But you chose to take it anyway? Welcome to day trading, ladies and gentlemen. So, Ollie, you had momentum. Guys, watch how easy this can be. You had an entry area. You did not have a clear path. So, Ollie, you're saying manage it. It's not perfect. Is that fair? You get paid right at the problem. You've got zero risk on the trade. If it breaks, you're a rock star. If it doesn't break, no harm done. So you made a decision based on advantages. You took a beautiful entry. You took quick profits. You're at a zero loss level. Ollie, I would say based on your chart read, it's pretty solid. And look what happened. Rocketed down, but it didn't affect you. You made $100. You protected yourself. And now you can say, all right, didn't go. I'll sit on my hands. Perfect chart read, Ollie. Perfect chart read. Very, very sound management. Because it isn't perfect, I'll manage aggressively. I'll get paid. I'll get to a zero loss level. And your small chart had strong triggers, which is great. No divergence, which is great. And termination conditions sure do win more than they lose. So great job keeping it aggressive. Nicely done. Mark, why are you congratulating him for breaking rules? Because he made the choice to break rules. It's not my job to scold you. It's my job to help you with the chart read and talk about what you did. That's it. Guys, everybody's different, right? In a restaurant, if you're eating steak, you're not going to get up in somebody's face and yell at them for eating fish because you don't like it. That's their meal. Let them enjoy it. And if they're choking on the bones, tell them about the bones. Yeah, Morgan, I need you to stop that. Your fiance actually called me. She's like, will you talk to Morgan in the room? because we got this thing going on right now. That's exactly why she won't take you out in public. It's still a termination condition, isn't it? Still a termination condition. Let's let the small triggers get above it. Let's get a little potential. Which trade, Ollie? I don't have a momentum trade. Nothing's set up. Oh. Okay, I got you. Hold on. My bad. I'm with you now. Thank you. All right, Morgan, you're allowed back in public. So, Ollie, the one thing that I do, and I encourage you guys to do, is what's the perfect trade, Ollie? The perfect trade is momentum, clear path, and an entry area. And you're great at recognizing it. So even this one, a trade is momentum, a clear path, and an entry area. That's high probability. That's the best of the best. So high probability trades are defined is when each indicator on every chart agrees with the rules for the trade. So Ollie, if you always go back to the recipe for perfection, here, just do this. Hold on. Save it to your computer, print it out. Or even better, Ollie, grab a piece of paper and a Sharpie and write momentum, path, and entry on that piece of paper. Guys, everybody do this if you're trying to figure this out. And take 3 pieces of paper. 3 pieces of paper, guys. And when you do your chart read, when you're reading your indicators and trying to make decisions, whoops, go back to it and look at your chart. And if you have momentum, leave it in the view. And if you don't have a clear path, cover it. And if you have an entry, leave it in view. And guys, what this does for you, and Ollie, what this will do for you, if you're always speaking in terms of those 3 things, if you're always looking for advantages, as soon as one of them disappears, you say to yourself, this is now medium probability. It's no longer high probability. If 2 of them are gone, you can say, whoa, this is low probability. I'm not sure I should be doing this. But what it does is, because you're in control of the entry, because you make the choice to enter, when you know what's working for you, and even more so when you know what's working against you, you can decide whether or not you're willing to enter that trade. And when you know something good is gone, you can manage that trade a little more assertively. So Ollie, when we looked at your trade, and let's go back to it again because it's a great example of how that works. One of the 3 were gone. It's medium probability. And you took quick profits and you got to break even because you know it's not perfect. And it's because one of the advantages, one of the perfection pieces was gone. Does that make sense? So write that out. Have it on your desk. Guys, there's a reason that I give out a checklist every day. There's a reason that every day I give you guys checklists for entry, because great entries create manageable trades. Really well done. And Ollie, if you had said, oh, it's not perfect, let me get in if on the up bar, you would not have made a penny on that trade, because it would have turned against you right there and stopped you out for a pretty good size loss. But because of your great entry, nice stuff. You access the funded account. I love it, Samuel. Samuel, trade your plan, right? Trade your plan. Get those advantages. And if you need any help with TradingView, God, let me know. I love teaching TradingView. On the bottom, yeah. So let me show you my picture. So Ollie, you can definitely call that a strong bottom. So there's 2 triggers for the small, and there's 2 triggers for the large. Oh no, did I get rid of that picture? Hold on. There we go. This is compliments of Morgan. If one trigger gets through, I think of my triggers as a car. If only one gets through, they didn't get through. So when we look at your picture, I love this picture. The license plate's the best part. One line of the small got through, one line of the large got through, but you didn't get the back half of either. So we're going to call that a strong bottom. I like the visuals. I like the visuals. Paul, I'm sorry. I read that and then I was answering a question and I got distracted. So Paul, Nexgen does not have a coupon for TradingView. But if you go to TradingView and you sign up for the demo, word on the street. So you can try premium free for 30 days, which is awesome. That's 30 days worth of access, Paul. Somebody told me that they'd give you a coupon to try to get you to commit right around that 20-day period. And it's usually like 60% off. So while Nexgen doesn't have one, TradingView usually, if you start with the demo, I think they send you a discount code to commit. Right on. Awesome, awesome. All right, so Victor, your drawings from the 13.2 aren't showing up on the 5.1. So if I do an ellipse over here, you're welcome, Paul. We want to see it show up over here, right? So if it doesn't, double click on that ellipse, and where it says attach to, make sure in the drop down it says all charts. And that should get you over there. So if it's just on my 13.2, it goes away. And this is a great way to go back and study too, because you can circle what's happening on the large chart and you can see where it ended up over here. So if I'm looking at a large chart, I'm like, man, right at the bottom of this tail with everything up, was there anything I could have done to take in a trade? And you might say, well, maybe there was, maybe there wasn't, but you can go back and get that information. Let me know if that works for you or doesn't work for you. There's those darn one-to-ones. Man, and they're still holding. Oh, that's why it won't, because it's two different markets, Victor. There we go. It's two different markets, so it's not going to do it. Does everybody see that brick wall of nonsense just absolutely stopping the market? No reason to trade into it, right? Now my triggers have rolled. If I get an HVA line, I might look to sell that HVA line if it fits my plan. Same thing on the ES. All of you guys owe Pablo a nickel because he called it, pointed it out, and told you it was trouble. And look at it becoming trouble. Can't take a momentum trade with the smalls below the large. But once again, coming from trouble changes. In 15 minutes, we've had a lot going on. And the zone is still holding. And gold is going sideways. I love it. Ollie, that's 3 hits on it and no break. You see it? Nope, sorry, that's 4 hits. 1, 2, 3, 4. And no break. And they still can't get below the large triggers. I don't know what's going to happen. But now my small triggers are rolling. So my fast moving average has changed down. How much money? Well, let me rephrase that. Can anyone guess how much money I've lost in a range? The answer is a metric butt ton. When I can't go up and I can't go down, my opinion bone gets really, really itchy. So, all right, Ed, let's see what you did, my friend. Odds favorable momentum, nothing in the way, perfect entry, making the money, Ed. Yeah, me too, Ed. I've lost so much money in ranges. Look at this. My rules say with 5-1 small triggers wide and down, must wait for the furthest area. Your fibs were different. Dude, Ed, this is perfect. It's strong triggers. It's a clear path. You called your shot, made them give it to you, and got paid. Strong work, Ed. Strong work. You know, it's a more relaxed feeling when you check on momentum and clear path. If it's not there, wait. No additional analysis needed. Yeah, Victor. Pete, a long time ago in the room, and I don't know if Pete's still in here, but Pete used to say, until my large chart rules are met, I'll just minimize my small chart because it's easy to get talked into trades on that small chart. That's it. Absolutely, Paul. No reason to go professional. They charge you like 50 times more for professional. Premium is all you'll ever need. It gives you the ability to run a bunch of charts. Like when you have premium, I mean, you could build, Paul, you could confuse yourself crazy. It's everything that you'll need. Everything that you'll need. And it's true. I don't need to look at my small chart until my large chart defines it. So let's let it do it. Trend is down. Smalls are down. Large are down. I'm strong side of the small triggers. I had strong triggers. Guys, can you give me a Y? Take care, Ed. Can you give me a Y? If you see with strong side of the triggers, everything down, nothing in the way, strong triggers, sell an HVA line. Guys, your entry was 22.2, and you are currently making an absolute killing with all that momentum and nothing in the way. That's gold. I don't really trade gold, but that's your look. Does that make sense, trading view people? First it's down, smalls are down, strong side of down, nothing in the way to kill my good time. What's my trade? Well, here it was the pullback to the mid-band and a close below. If you missed it, it was a pullback to the mid-band and the close below. If you missed it, it was the HVA momentum. Small chart will pull you if you watch it for more than a quick glance or two. Absolutely, Paul. So guys, what we have here is a checklist approved momentum trade using the HVA line. So my trading view people, here's our checklist. Stupid checklist. He's always talking about a checklist. Will it let me paste it on? Oh, it will. Look at that. All right. No termination conditions reached on the 15. That's a yes. Strong triggers. Strong side of triggers. Odds favorable momentum. Any pullback to an HVA line. Boom, baby. How much crap did you have to sit through before it gave you the perfect trade? And guys, if you entered at 22.2 and you exited at the 1-to-1s here at 19.8, that is $250 per contract. That's not a bad way to make a living. So the idea, and I'm going to say it loud, the idea is to say what direction, what side of the smalls, What are my options? Know your entry rules when the rules are met. Transition directly into trouble. I can't go long as much as I wish that I could. I can't go short because I'm not going to fight the small chart up. Do you see how your 1 minute chart is going sideways in a box right here? And it can't seem to break out? It's because there's conflict, transition, trouble, 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 trouble. Sit tight, guys. Sit tight, relax. It'll get better. It always does. The next trade is always coming. I don't have to be in every trade. Smalls are up, but I'm on the weak side. Never got a trend trade entry. If I were going to try to go up with the smalls from the weak side in the areas, I needed to close on the correct side of the triggers after it pulled back to an area, which didn't give me a lot of room to trouble. And I don't have a whole bunch of giddy up, so it would be tightly managed. When the one-to-ones held, not taking the momentum trade, lost all the momentum, strong triggers down, break through, pull back to the zone, down it goes. Does that one fit? I am weak side of the triggers, in a downtrend, odds favorable momentum, pull back to the zone, sell the zone, take it to trouble. Does that make sense? Can you guys still hear me? Have I lost everybody? Are you like, I'm done, I can't get rules met? Screw this guy. I can't get through termination conditions. Ugh. Still can't get through the damn termination conditions. Ugh. Guys, today has not been a money producing day. Today has been a sit on your hands day. Today has been an outstanding lesson in patience. Outstanding lesson in patience. So if you're brand new, you're like, man, this sucks. How am I going to make $1 million this year if I can't get momentum and path? If you're experienced, you're like, ha, I haven't lost a damn trade yet today. I've only had one opportunity and I made $100 on it, right? Or I made $200 or I made $300. And Wednesday and Thursday are usually the best days, Morgan. Some of you will just take a shot. I've worked with traders that say, you know what? I'll get in here with a stop right here. And if it goes down, awesome. And if it doesn't, it's $50. And I've seen that mentality a lot. And one of my least favorite phrases in trading is it's only $50. It's only $60. If you give away an arbitrary $60 every day of the trading year, you gave away $15,000. And suddenly it doesn't feel like it's only $50, right? What if it's only $50 3 times a day? It's only $50. Is anyone in the room willing to give away $37,000 of their money because they hope something happens? No. How hard is it to answer no, though, Chariot? How hard is it to answer no when you're bored? How hard is it to answer no when you've been so patient? You guys know that I don't take any trades in my live account during class. I survive a whole 3 hours without one trade in a live account. And then after class, I go walk my dog. And I don't take trades for 3.5, 4 hours. And then I come into the afternoon and I watch the market and I wait for my rules. And I don't think I've ever not had a trade. during a day. Not everybody has that kind of time, right? But if you are on limited time, I'm going to let you in on a secret. If you are on limited time, just because you're on limited time, the market's not obligated to give you a trade. I used to believe, and guys, it used to kill me. I would trade this room, and it took me a big mental shift. I would teach this room, and I would watch you guys make hundreds, thousands of dollars. And instead of believing that it wasn't my money, I would try to make up for it. The room would end, and I would say, oh my gosh, I missed $5,000 worth of profits. Let me go make something happen. Let me go get mine. And my rules aren't met, and I'd break my rules, and I'd fabricate trades, and I would lose a lot of money, blow out my prop firm accounts, all that sort of stuff. And there is such a shift, and Victor, you seem to be in the middle of it right now, where you realize that you can make money without being in every move. And you realize that the days that you trade the less are typically the days that you make the most. Does anyone else have that realization yet? The days where I do the least amount of work are the days where I tend to make the most money. My hand is raised to the ceiling. How do you get to that point? All right, guys, I am going to let you in on the greatest secret ever. And this is very counterintuitive. You get to the point where you're willing to do nothing when you lose this trade. And you talk about why you lost the trade, and you present it, and you get feedback. And then you lose this trade, and you talk about it, and you write out why you lost that trade, and you make a little money, Victor, here on this trade. And then you lose that potential to break trade, and you get feedback on why it lost, and you lose this one, and you lose that one, and you lose this one, and you lose that one, and you lose this one. And guys, losses are one of the greatest things you can ever do. Because if you and I are in a room and you poke me in the chest, I punch you in the nose. And you might poke me in the chest one or two times more, but eventually you're going to get sick of getting punched in the nose. And it takes those lessons. Don't touch the hot stove. Go to a Mexican restaurant. Careful, the skillet's hot. Everybody in this room has a burn on their finger from the skillet, even though they told us it was hot. So guys, use your simulator to get the ever-loving crap kicked out of you a couple times and learn to hate that feeling. Termination for the win again. There will be days where it's just no fun to be a trader. There's days where it's better to go golf, where it's better to go take a walk with your dog, where it's better to go do anything other than try to create something that your indicators aren't telling you. Does that make sense? Guys, that's the little let's get touchy-feely hippie guru behind the pulpit moment. Nobody in this room is not going to go through that. I'm just going to let you know right now. Everybody in this room is going to go through that. This is your learning curve, guys. Looks like fun. We've all said it. That's what got you to me, is it looks like fun. And then there's this is hard, right? And some of you are in this moment right now. I just got the software. I bought it. I leased it. I'm looking at it. I'm demoing it. Holy shit, I didn't know that making $1 million a year would require any work at all. You mean I have to learn things? And you're like, okay, I'm going to learn them, but I'm going to learn it my way. I'm not going to learn momentum because I need to make money. I'm not going to study clear path because that keeps me. And you take these trades, and you take these trades that are lucky. And guys, I'll tell you, if you get lucky and you make $1,000 on simulator a day, right? And you didn't have any trade rules, and you don't know how to manage, and you don't even have any idea why you got into the market. And guys, this is my autobiography that I'm reading to you right now. And then you go live. And guys, you are so blessed to be in a world where there are prop firms, where you can make a $50,000 mistake for 20 bucks, right? Or 50 bucks, whatever it costs to get a prop firm account. This is where I went live with a $6,000 account that I took from the profits of selling a house that we had in Houston. And I said, I'm going to be a day trader. This was 30 days in, guys. Had not written a rule, never taken a picture, never participated in class. I just knew that because I was good on simulator, I would crush it live. I lost $5,000 over the course of 2 hours. $5,000 over the course of 2 hours. And it blew me all the way back to, and forgive the swearing, it knocked me all the way down to the I don't know shit stage, where I was so dejected and so frustrated, and I was so angry at John Novak for even getting me involved with this. And I had to do a little soul searching. Well, this is where you make a decision, guys. Some of you will say, Nexgen's stupid, I hate him, the software doesn't work. And the reality is you never did the work. How can you expect the results? This is where I had the epiphany that when I started with the software, John Novak told me, Mark, this is what I need you to do. And he said, and it was even easier than this. He said, here's the rules for the high probability trend trade. Hold on. Here's the rules for the high probability trend trade. Write them down. That's it. Write them down. And I said, my last name's Novak. I don't have to write anything down. And then he said, take a picture of what it looks like when the rules are met so you can burn it into your brain. And I said, I don't have to take pictures. I'm a Novak. I'm entitled to win. You wrote the software. And he said, do me a favor. Just keep track of your trades. Keep track of your pictures. Go back and study them a little bit every day so that you can burn those images in your mind. To which I replied, get bent, John Novak. You don't know me. And he said, Mark, participate in my classroom. Post pictures in the classroom. And post every picture, win, lose, or draw, so that I can tell you what you're doing right or wrong. And I fought my brother tooth and nail, the way some of you are fighting me tooth and nail. And it was a $5,000 mistake. Paul, I've got the most amazing wife in the world. And it was right here, guys, at my lowest point with the software when I wanted to quit, that I said, okay. And it was probably spite. I said, I'm going to follow John Novak's plan. I'm going to take pictures. I'm going to write down rules, and I'm going to participate in class. And I'll show him this is a bunch of malarkey. And guys, that's when my life changed. That's when it got easy. And I still battle the form and opinion demons. I'll tell you that right now. You will, probably for the duration. But you battle them less the more you trust, guys. And when you have a plan and you have a checklist and you follow the checklist, guys, these checklists are put in place because we have verified they win more than they lose. And you're going to have moments where you don't feel smart, and you're going to have moments where you struggle. And if you just come back to my classroom and post in, let me work through the struggles with you, because I've probably made every mistake you could ever make. And it was funny. I was talking to someone yesterday, and I was telling them the story of when my wife was learning the software, and a little bit about my wife. She was a cardiothoracic and trauma surgeon, operating room nurse for 20 years. She has an MBA. She has a BSN. She's got so many letters behind her name. She's brilliant. She's in management. She's in leadership. She's a director, all these different things. And I'm thinking she is one of the smartest women I've ever met in my life. And when we learned the indicators, she told me, she goes, Mark, all I want to do is go to the hospital and read an EKG so that I can feel smart again. Because all of her education, all of her success in life had nothing to do with these indicators. So she had to go back. She had to go back and accept that she needed to be a student. But I love that. And Paul, yeah, she's like, I need to go read an EKG. I feel like a dumbass. And Victor, I tell these stories because when you do it alone, you feel like you're the only one, right? When you do it alone, you feel like you're the only one. I don't want to share my failures because nobody in this room's ever failed. I don't want to say I don't know what momentum is because everybody in this room knows what momentum is. Guys, that's not true. And I'm going to kill YouTube real quick.